Ito ang Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas. Magandang araw Pilipinas, magandang araw Soc-Sargen. Sa ngalan ni Presidential Communications Secretary Attorney Cheloy Garafil at PIA Director General Jose Torres Jr., ako si Frian E. Abquila ng Philippine Information Agency Region 12 at ito ang Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas. This communication initiative aims to enhance public understanding and engagement on the programs and projects of implementing agencies at the grassroots level. The activity further aims to amplify the policies, activities, and accomplishments of each featured department, consistent with the mandate of the administration's Bagong Pilipinas Governance and Leadership Agenda. For our 10th episode, bawat rehiyon sa bansa ay sabay-sabay na pag-uusapan ang mga inisyatibo ng Department of the Interior and Local Government o DILG. Makakasama natin ang DILG upang ilahad ang kanilang mga nagawa, ginagawa at gagawin pa sa ilalim ng Marcos administration. Tayo po ay naka-livestream sa official Facebook pages ng DILG 12 at PIA 12. Please like and follow our pages to be updated. Pwede rin kayong mag-comment ng inyong mga katanungan at babasahin po natin yan mamayang konti. At huwag na natin patatagalin pa. To kick things off, our guest for this episode is none other than the Regional Director of the Department of the Interior Local Government, Soc-Sargen. Let us all welcome Attorney Rochelle D. Mahinay Cero Sese. Ma'am, ang inyong pagbati sa ating mga manonood.
Good morning po. Good morning po sa iyo, RD, at good morning po sa ating lahat, especially doon po sa mga nanonood sa ating kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas via Facebook Live at sa lahat na nandito ngayon kasama natin para sa ngayong Dagyao 2024.
Yes, Dagyao 2024. Yes, kami po ay nagagalak, RD, dahil pinaunukan niyo po ang aming imbitasyon. Kasama ang buong pwersa ng DILG Region 12. Very timely nga ang ating kapihan. Itong kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas ngayong linggo dahil we will also have the Dagyao 2024. So, siguro mamayang konti, gusto namin tanongin, ano po yung Dagyao? Ano pong ginagawa natin dito with the CSOs? No? Okay, so how are you, ma'am? Kumusta po kayo? And kumusta po ang DILG 12? Alam ko, kaliwat kanan ang mga activities niyo lately.
Ako po OKRD at I believe ang organization po namin ay up and running at okay din kami. Yun nga po, marami pong ginagawa sa DILG. In fact, last week, meron po kaming DILG sa Bagong Pilipinas o yung SDS or Sharpening the Saw. Ito po ay part po ng internal capacity development ng DILG for all personnel to sharpen their skills to effectively perform their functions. So, during the activity, meron din kaming tribute sa aming mga retirees.
Ilan ba mga retirees ngayon?
Meron kaming 5 at isang provincial director at 4 na mga CMLG-OOs. And we also had our recognition sa mga best performing employees po namin sa DILG sa aming GEMS. Government Exemplars for Meaningful Service, GEMS, DILG. At yan
Ano ba itong Praise Award?
Yes, ito itong Praise Award ng Civil Service po.
Civil Service, alright.
At ngayon nga po, meron tayong Dagyao 2024.
Ito na. Ano po yung Dagyao, RD? Para sa ating mga tagapakinig at manunood. Ano po yung
kita
Dagyao?
kay mga Bisaya man ta, pero kaning Dagyao sa Hiligaynon nga word.
Alright.
It's a word for Hiligaynon word meaning togetherness.
Okay.
And this refers to town hall meetings where citizens and government engage in discussions. And these meetings allow our citizens to ask questions, magpi-feedback po sila sa mga programa ng gobyerno, while tayo po sa government agencies will use the platform to promote and explain kung ano yung mga initiatives at ano yung mga ginagawa sa NGA, sa mga national government agencies na ito. ito po ay may national level, may regional level na Dagyao Town Hall meetings. At ito po ay naka-align sa Participatory Governance Cabinet Cluster mandates to ensure stakeholder participation in policy making and to promote empowerment in governance. They also support the Philippines government commitment po natin doon sa International Open Government Partnership.
Ayun.
So itong mga town halls are led by the Department of the Interior and Local Government, sa DILG, sa Presidential Communication Office or the PCO,
Yung
and
mother
then
agency
sa,
namin,
opo, sa Department of Budget and Management, DBM, with the strong support from the Office of the President at saka Office of the Cabinet Secretary or the OCS and other national government agencies, RD.
Okay, so na-explain nyo po yung Dagyao. Balikan natin yung department, yung office ninyo. Kasi nga, na-explain mo na kanina, yung background ng Dagyao. Sana simultaneous din yung Dagyao. Pero sa ibang region, iba ba yung schedule nila? Yung sa atin, today, right? Okay. Now, to give our viewers a quick overview, ano po yung mandato ng DILG? Balikan natin yung department yun po.
Alright, si DILG is tasked to formulate ng mga policies, sound policies on strengthening local government capacities. Kaya po si DILG nagbibigay po kami ng capacity development interventions as part po ng mandate namin.
Yung bang training sa mga bagong elect na mga
Yes po,
officials, ito ba yun? Mga
kasali
ganyang
po yan siya doon sa strengthening local government capacities.
Ah,
Opo.
tama. Alright.
We also perform oversight functions over the LGUs. Ito po yung delegated power, no? Na the President delegated its power to our SILG to oversee. Ito po yung mga performance ng ating local government units as titingnan kung yung mga actions ba ng LGUs are in consonance with law at naaayon sa national policies and mga directives po.
Okay.
Aside from that, we also provide rewards and incentives and which later ang ating pong pag-usapan ang SGLG.
Yes, SGLG.
At saka nagbibigay po kami ng technical and administrative services sa ating mga local government units. Kasi may mga programa po kami na may mga infrastructure projects, so kasama na din po yan sa technical services and administrative services na pinafacilitate din po ng department namin. To the end, ang aim po is to become trusted partners in nurturing local governments and sustaining peaceful, safe, progressive, resilient, and inclusive communities. Yan po ang dream, no, ng vision ni DILG.
Ayan, so one of the main thrusts of the Marcos administration is empowering the local government units to bring more quality services down to the grassroots level. No? Sa ngayon po, RD, ano yung mga prioridad ng inyong departamento sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Secretary Attorney Ben-Hur Abalos Jr.?
Our good secretary, ito po yung mga priority projects ng secretary along the line of peace and order and security. Meron po kaming tinatawag na barangay clearing operations o BARCO. This is to ensure safety, no, and order doon sa mga communities natin wherein kasali na doon yung road clearing operations.
Okay.
Yan. Meron din inclusive and resilient communities, strengthen community participation. Ito yung mga CSO engagement natin and CSO Academy, which we will be tackling later. And upholding excellence in local governance. Yan naman talaga yung gusto ni Secretary. Pero kung sinasabi natin yung sa ano yung pinaka mga details, no? With regards sa priority ni Secretary, we have the SGLG na parati niyang sinasabi sa amin ng mga RDs na sana mas mag-increase or mas dadami ang pastors ng SGLG sa
Ayun.
region namin. So yan yung standing order niya.
And challenge ito sa inyo.
Challenge. And so we're happy naman na we have 34 LGUs
Oh.
na gisubmit namin for national calibration or
Or
validation.
nag-qualify sila? Hindi naman.
Nag-qualify sa regional level,
regional
pero
level.
may national validation pa
Alright,
naman.
sige.
So that's mga around, so from ano yung dati 22 to 34. Ayan.
Oh.
Pero di pa naman yan sigurado sure passer, but we're happy that we're able to to submit them to the for national calibration validation. Meron din po tayong Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program
Yung
or
ECLIP.
ECLIP. Opo.
Okay.
At saka ito yun sa mga former rebels or mga friends rescued natin. Meron po tayong Support to Barangay Development Program or yung SBDP.
Ito yung sa GIDAS? Hindi naman.
Not necessarily GDAS areas, but these are communities that are cleared for
Cleared
development,
for development,
by the AFP. And a local initiative or at the regional level, we have the CSO Academy of Socsargen.
Tatalakay natin yan mamaya din.
Yes, opo. At meron din po tayong BIDA program, yung Buhay Ingatan Drogay Ayawan program, a flagship program of the Secretary, and he is around, going around the country for BIDA nga mga programs namin at saka mga BIDA dialogo, yung mga activities with regards to BIDA. For us in the regional office, meron po kaming initiative na tinatawag naming BIDA on Wheels.
BIDA on Wheels?
Yes, we have a memorandum of agreement with our major bus companies and mga private institutions like mga malls natin to air po yung BIDA advocacy na mga materials.
Ongoing ito ngayon,
Opo,
Arnie.
IEC materials. So,
Yun.
sa mga, one of those nga nag-commit talaga to help us is Yellow Bus Line. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, kung if nagawi po kayong magsakay ng Yellow Bus, meron po
Magko-commute yung mga
commuters natin, meron po yung IEC natin, yung Information Education Campaign materials on BIDA. So that's BIDA on
nice.
Wheels.
BIDA on
Ayan.
Wheels. Okay, so very clear. Malinaw po ang direksyon ng DILG 12 at DILG mismo para sa para sa kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino. Sa puntong pong ito, ating alamin ang mga accomplishments ng DILG Socsargen Region sa kanilang AVP. Panoorin po natin ito.
The DILG 12 has been at the forefront of promoting good governance, peace and order, and inclusive communities. Over the past years, we have achieved remarkable milestones that have significantly impacted the lives of the people in our region. The Seal of Local Governance, or SGLG, is an award, incentive, honor, and recognition-based program for all LGUs and is a continuing commitment for LGUs to continually progress and improve their performance. Local government units are assessed based on following 10 governance areas. In Region 12, a total of 13 or 25% of local government units passed the SGLG assessment in 2022 and 19 or 36% of LGUs in 2023. This support aimed to provide sustainable means of income through various livelihood programs, ensuring the economic stability of the reintegrated individuals. Here are the financial assistance provided under ECLIP from January 2022 to 2024. A total of 5,460,000 pesos was disbursed as immediate assistance to 364 beneficiaries across the region. Livelihood assistance totaling 15,300,000 pesos was given to 306 beneficiaries. This support aimed to provide sustainable means of income through various livelihood programs, ensuring the economic stability of the reintegrated individuals. A significant amount of 6,972,000 pesos was allocated for the reintegration of 332 individuals. This phase focused on the social reintegration of former rebels and former violent extremists, including their acceptance and active participation in their respective communities. The program also provided 1,865,542 pesos as remuneration for surrendered firearms to 37 beneficiaries. This initiative not only ensured the safety and security of the communities, but also incentivized the surrender of illegal firearms. by addressing the immediate livelihood and reintegration needs of former rebels and violent extremists. The program has paved the way for their successful transition back into society. The financial assistance provided has not only supported individual beneficiaries, but has also contributed to the overall stability and security of their communities. Executive Order EO number 70, Series of 2018 recognizes that insurgencies and conflicts are not just military issues, but stem from broader social, economic, and historical problems. To address these root causes, the government needs to prioritize and harmonize the delivery of basic services and social programs while promoting societal inclusivity and active participation from all sectors, achieving sustainable peace and prosperity. One key strategy is the Retooled Community Support Program RCSP, which helps local governments, especially at the barangay level, identify issues and needed interventions. This program aims to empower communities to organize and implement their own projects, improving their current conditions through coordinated efforts and support. One result of the RCSP process is the improvement of barangay development plans, which pinpoint priority projects and programs to address current issues and development gaps at the barangay level. The priority projects identified by the barangays through RCSP will receive funding from the LGSFS BDP. In 2022, Region 12 has successfully implemented all 92 projects across 78 barangays in the region worth 312 million pesos in total. In 2023, 95.83% of the 24 projects implemented in 23 barangays were completed. Through collaborative efforts, these have not only enhanced the quality of life for our residents, but have also paved the way for long-term prosperity in the region. The Civil Society Organization Academy of Soxurgen, or CSO Academy, first conceptualized by Mahintana Foundation Incorporated, in partnership with DILG-12. It was established as recognition of the invaluable and indispensable roles of CSOs in nation building. It intends to help accredited CSOs in Region 12 to sharpen the various facets of their capacities. This shall empower them to render a more meaningful representation and participation in local governance, especially as members of various local special bodies. The Academy received various policy support from the Multi-Stakeholders Advisory Council MSAC 12 and Regional Development Council 12. On November 29, 2023, a total of 20 CSO scholars from South Cotabato graduated from the Academy. This year, South Cotabato started the course for its second batch of scholars, while General Santos City started its first batch of scholars in partnership with the U.S. Agency for International Development through its Cities for Enhanced Governance and Engagement USAID Change. These accomplishments are a testament to the dedication and hard work of DILG-12, our partner agencies, and the resilient people of Region 12. Together, we are building a stronger, safer, and more inclusive and sustainable future for all. Join us as we continue to make a difference, one milestone at a time. This is our commitment. This is our journey. This is DILG-12.
What you have seen are the accomplishments that is a testament to the dedication and hard work of DILG-12, our partner agencies, the civil society organizations, and the people's organization, the resilient people of Region 12. Together, we are building a stronger, safer, and more sustainable future for all. Ayan siya, RD.
Congratulations po, RD Cero, at sa buong DILG Region 12. A big round of applause po sa kanila, sa kanilang mga nagawa. Patunay ang mga proyektong ito sa kalidad ng serbisyo ng inyong ahensya. RD, with all your accomplishments, alam ko marami pa pong plano ang DILG 12. Ano na naman po kaya yung ways forward ng inyong ahensya from 2025 to 2028?
Of course, RD, we operate on the we have operations plan and budget. So we operate on that operations plan from the central office.
of course,
Opo. So we continue with those programs mentioned earlier, aligning our along that line. Yung gusto kong mangyari po sa department namin, sa DILG 12 specifically, is to mag-streamline po kami in a way that we align our various field roles ng mga CMLGOs natin with that of our mandate, and ensuring that lahat ng mga programs, projects, and activities namin as it pertains to the local government units po, meron po talagang mga focal person or action officer to ensure yung implementation at saka yung coordination and tie-up ni DILG with the LGUs. Also, that's the streamlining. And then we also have simplification of our strategies. So as much as we can, mga lesser steps lang po yung halimbawa may bababa na MC, we are to guide our field office on the lesser steps para medyo mas mapadali din po ang buhay ng ating mga MLGOOs. And etong sinasabi ko sa kanila that we stick with our mandates for our field officers to know what to prioritize with the various PPAs, and meron din kami mga interagency na mga engagements din.
Ako curious ako yung stick to the mandate. Bakit meron bang ibang
Sa LGU po kasi, di ba, parang varied yung mga ginagawa. So,
Okay.
minsan po, to show camaraderie, may nag-chairperson ng committee on, halimbawa, nagpipiesta. So, may committee or may task
Ayun,
group si
oo.
MLGOO. Pwede naman po yun kasi, pero sometimes, I'd like to encourage them to, kumbaga, stick to mandates so that para ma-maximize din nila yung energy nila, kumbaga, na hindi naman po kakainin po ng ibang...
may mga deadlines, hindi na nasubmit yung mga
Opo,
di
so
ba?
that's the internally. Pero naman po doon sa aming mga external clients, sir, meron po kaming, we're happy to announce and we are proud of this, yung ongoing po na CSO engagement on the formulation po ng participation continuum with USAID Change and with the Mahintana Foundation Incorporated.
Okay.
Ito po yung...
Ano yun? Sa mga ordinaryong
Opo.
mamamayan.
Ito po yung...
Participation continuum, ano yun?
Opo, ito po yung sinasabi na ang mga CSO ay dapat mag-participate doon sa governance.
Oh.
Pero ano yung level ng participation nila? So this is an assessment tool for the LGUs to know kung ang binibigay ba nila na participation is tokenism, kumbaga hanggang prayer lang ba, hanggang attendance lang ba si CSO, o merong co-creation, collaboration, at may mga projects talaga na nag-implement is si CSO. So ito po,
Ayun.
dito po natin makikita, ongoing po, magkakaroon po kami ng ongoing ang mga initial talks namin at magkakaroon ng workshop din po kami para i-tailor fit namin sa context ng Region 12.
Parang i-review nyo yung outputs nila, participation nila siguro. Ano,
Opo.
may mga checklist ba ito?
Opo, at
Ayun.
saka we are also excited na magkaroon na talaga ng CSO agenda ang ating mga local government,
Alright.
units.
Okay, so excited na din kami, RD, sa inyong mga plano at gagawin pa sa mga susunod na taon. Just to clarify things, may mga tanong din, may dagdag pa akong tanong. Kanina, you mentioned about the SDLG. Paano ito makakatulong sa mga local government units at sa kanilang mamamayan?
Yung SGLG or the Seal of Good Local Governance, ito po yung hallmark ng excellence ng local government units.
Ayun.
Sinasabing hallmark kasi at present po, ito yung considered as the highest award na makukuha ng isang local government unit.
Okay.
So kung mabibigyan po ang isang LGU ng Seal of Good Local seal of good local governance, it means that the people are assured na the LGU is adhering and delivering its mandates. Yun pong nakasaad sa Section 16 sa General Welfare Clause ng Local Government Code at saka yung basic services and facilities ay nandun po sa isang LGU per Section 17 ng Local Government Code. Sabi po ng isang LCA, while it is ironic daw po that we give recognition to LGUs for complying with their mandate and meeting the minimum requirements as provided by law, we have to acknowledge, ito sa standpoint ng isang mayor, we have to acknowledge that when the fact that we can only transcend and go beyond after we have met these minimum standards, yung pong tinatalaga or provided for in Section 16 and 17 ng Local Government Code. So ultimately po, kung titingnan natin, it is the Filipino people o yung constituent ng isang LGU ang mga makabenefit or the beneficiaries po ng SGLG because of the improved services delivery.
Ayun, okay. Ito naman, yung particular na indicators, I'm talking about specific criteria. Ano po yung mga specific criteria and indicators para ma-evaluate yung LGUs sa itong SGLG at paano masisiguro na patas at walang bias ang proseso ng assessment, RD?
Si SGLG po, may 10 governance areas na tinatawag. Ito po yung mga set of standards where the LGUs will be, yung performance nila will be compared or pitted upon. So may financial administration and sustainability, disaster preparedness, social protection and sensitivity, health, compliance and responsiveness, meron ding sustainable education, tinitingnan din natin ang business friendliness ng isang LGU at yung competitiveness niya.
Okay.
Tinitingnan din ang safety, peace and order, kamusta sila with regards to peace and order and safety, at kamusta yung environmental management, pasok ba sa national standards, tsaka meron din po tinitingnan sa tourism, yung heritage development, culture and the arts is also important, at saka yung panghuli, yung youth development. This is to ensure that the assessment process is fair and unbiased. Ang mga evaluators po natin, sa evaluation po, kumbaga, the way we conduct the evaluation is that meron pong combination ng self-assessment, may mga validations at third-party assessments. Ayan po. So, yung process po involves the use of standardized tools and procedures. Kaya I believe that's one way of ensuring the objectivity part. Meron pong training sa mga evaluators natin so that they are capacitated to really see and look at the nitty-gritty details doon sa mga governance areas na yan. At meron pong mechanisms for appeal. Meron din naman pong kung paano, halimbawa, hindi nag-a-agree si LGU, meron pong way of airing their appeals, and of course feedback from the local government units na i-assess. Finally, meron pong civil society organization representatives, CSO representatives. Tinatap po natin to serve as the third person who will validate the LGUs from an objective standpoint. Kaya masasabi po namin na unbiased po siya.
Okay. Meron na tayong third-party validator, yung membership naman ito, ilan sila mag-validate? Ano ba ito? Mga tao, no?
Yes po, yung mga technical team namin.
Technical team from Manila, saan ba sila galing? Hindi naman ito from the region, ano?
From the regional level, sa regional
regional
level,
level,
meron kami yung technical team namin, at saka yung CSO partner.
CSO partner.
With the LGUs, of course.
Pagkatapos nito, sabi mo kanina, 35 na yung sinabit natin.
34.
34.
May nagkahabol na isa.
34.
Sana madagdagan ng...
Provincial, municipal, saka barangay ba yun? Ano ba yung
For this assessment naman sa SGLG, it's municipal.
Municipal.
Mga munisipyo itong, munisipyo tsaka probinsya ang inakyat natin doon for the national validation. Yung sinasabi mo sa barangay level, meron din kaming Seal of Good Local Governance Barangay.
Barangay, di ba? Oo. Iba
Opo.
naman yun.
Iba naman yun. Pero it's a set of deliverables naman ang tinitingnan sa barangay level.
Last year ba, yung anong criteria, saan nagsisimula yung evaluation? Nagsisimula to, yung evaluation this year, last year ba na accomplishment?
Opo.
Ay,
Yeah.
parang ganun. Okay.
So next year, we are hoping for this year's performance, it will be next year's
Next year.
assessment. So we're hoping to, kung pwede pa lang, no, 100% sa mga LGUs natin because it means that they are doing what they have to do according to their mandates. Ayan. But we're working on it kay may mga challenges along the way.
Sana ma-simplify din yung process doon sa pag-submit ng mga documentation. Kasi nga, ang susunod kong tanong, yung suporta kasi, yung inisyatibo na natatanggap ng mga local government units kapag sila ay nagawa rin ng SGLG, no? Parang, what's in it for us? Meron ba kaming
Makukuha.
financial
Ayan.
reward?
Yes.
Aside from financial reward, sana meron pang iba, no? Ano pa ba yun?
So for the LGUs, what is at stake more than ang sinasabi lang bragging rights na, oy, we got the seal. They also get to become entitled to the Seal of Good Local Governance Incentive Fund or the SGLGIF, which ranges from 1.8 million to 7 million depending on the classification ng isang local government unit na nakapasa. And itong amount na ito would vary from year to year kasi depende po siya doon sa number of LGU passers because I think fixed po yung nasagaan na for SGLG na ano. So kung syempre maraming passers, medyo maliliit ang mabigay. Yun. But no matter, we would like our LGUs nga 100% at sana sa buong Pilipinas nga 100% ang SGLG passer. Also, yung LGUs with the SGLG are often given priority in accessing po yung sa mga grants, mga fundings, and capacity building programs from the national government and
So,
other
mas
sources.
nauuna sila, RD,
Opo.
parang gano'n. Okay.
May, parang sa priority line na
Okay, sige, sige.
dahil sa SGLG,
SGLG.
mauuna.
Yung documentation process, hindi ba ito tedious masyado? Baka, ano mo yung mga, so far, feedback na na-receive niyo sa mga local government units? Hindi ba ito medyo ma-dokumento ka masyado? Baka,
Siyempre, it's an assessment. We need means of verification, evidence-based.
Evidence-based.
Kaya sinasabi na medyo trabahoso with regards sa compliance ng mga papers. But we are confident na ang mga LGUs natin are complying. They have this, only that yung mga documents na lang ba ang
Okay.
kailangan nila na pag, ano yan, yung kumbaga i-compile at saka ma-consolidate at saka yung maipon talaga yung may mga kumbaga ebidensya sila na maipakita. So those are one of the challenges that we have at saka ang nakikita ko na
yung mga challenges are...
pero ang nakikita ko pag may mga action officers per governance areas medyo mas madali for the LGUs to comply. Kasi sinasabi 'di ba, begin with the end in mind. So kung sa mind nila gusto nilang makuha ang SGLG, then January pa lang of that assessment year, dapat ayun na.
Document your activities, di ba?
Oo,
Lahat,
so hinay-hinay na sila
Oo.
na
Comply.
mag-comply at mag-produce ng mga documents na yan.
Okay. Challenges sa SGLG. Ito naman ba, dadako tayo sa e-clip. Yung mga common challenges naman doon sa e-clip. Alam ko, yung mga FRs natin, ng mga Friends Rescued, di ba? Sila yung mga beneficiaries nito. So, how are this being addressed, RD?
Alright, the e-clip is the Enhanced Community Local Integration Program for our former rebels, what we call them Tamaka RD nga, Friends Rescued. Yung common challenges namin in implementing the e-clip is to ensure the completeness and accuracy of the documentation. Ayan, again, kagaya ng SGLG documentation.
Documentation na naman.
Kasi nga, magbibigay nga ng hindi naman ayuda, financial
Enough
assistance.
yung photo, yung testimonials sa video, meron pa ba?
Hindi po may our partners there are our local social welfare development offices, no? So sila po yung may mga forms, may mga
Ganun.
may mga dapat pa silang mga intake forms na tinatawag nila at mga interviews with these FRs. So yan po yung completeness and accuracy ng documentation, yung coordination among multiple agencies kasi may e-clip committee sa LGU level na ito yung kumbaga addressing the issues and concerns with regards to e-clip implementation. And also, more importantly for me, and I think I share it with with many people, yung gaining the trust of the former rebels.
Okay.
Yung if the government will stay true to its promise na tutulungan sila. These challenges are being addressed, of course, since nakikita nga namin na challenges siya, meron din kaming, kumbaga, solution.
Oo.
Oo. So we provide comprehensive training for our stakeholders. Kasali na yun ang mga na-involve doon sa pag-process ng mga papers ng mga FRs or Friends Rescued. We also enhance our interagency collaboration sa pamamagitan ng regular meeting and communications, and then implementation of thorough verification process for the submitted documents, and continuous community engagement kung saan ilalagay o i-integrate ang isang former rebel, and then support programs to help build trust and encourage yung all-out talaga na participation ng isang former rebel. Kasi syempre, former rebels, parang iba pa ang tingin nila sa government. So, it's up for us to, kumbaga, be warmth and accommodating and really show them that this is the government helping you. Ayan.
Okay. Ilang taon na ba itong nagra-run itong programang ito, RD?
ECLIP
And then-
is, how many years ang ECLIP? Since 2019.
Okay.
14.
For ECLIP
ECLIP,
lang.
opo, 2014,
Pagkatapos,
ayan.
This year, medyo meron pa ding mga nag-avail this year.
Yes.
Marami-rami.
And in fact, nasaynan ko lang kahapon
Oo.
yung mga financial assistance natin
Oh.
for the former rebels, which will be, I hope, within the week or next week, will be ready for the release na naman.
Yung financial assistance na mabigay ng DLG, nagre-range ng mga magkano po yun?
We have
More or less.
50,000 for the livelihood,
Oh.
15,000 for the integration, and then yung sa nag-a-accept na unit like the AFP or kung saan sila magsusurrender, AFP or PNP, they have 21,000 for each.
Additional na naman yun.
For each of the FR.
FRs.
Ito yung panggasto doon sa during deradicalization program nila at saka yung sa mga the needs of the FRs when they surface. Surface ang
Oo.
ang term namin pag mag-surrender. Ayan.
Isa din sa mga concern, RD, na nakikita, na-observe din yung, meron na ba tayong database sa mga nagsusurrender? Dito, like for example, hindi ba ito mag-duplicate sa ibang region? For example, mag-avail din siya sa kabilang region. Pwede ba yan?
Meron
For example,
po, meron
may mga,
po,
ano tayo,
meron tayong
safety nets or parang-
merong database sa central office so that we will be able to monitor para hindi naman
May duplication, na
duplication,
mangyayari.
hindi magduduplicate yung pag-avail nila ng assistance.
Oo. Ito naman yung paano naman isinasama yung mga local communities natin, stakeholders sa pagpapatupad ng ECLIP.
Sa ECLIP implementation naman po, malaki ang roles ng mga national government agencies such as the SWD, the DILG, of course, the AFP, and the PNP. And of course with the LGUs because they provide the essential support services, funding, and the security. Additionally po, the ECLIP Cluster Amnesty Cluster from the Regional Task Force of the Ending Local Communist and Armed Conflict will help coordinate efforts and streamline the process. Ang ating mga LSWDO, ang ating mga governors, mayors, and mga punong barangays are also on board. They help coordinate the efforts and streamline the process. And aside from yung mga LSWD, LCEs, and CSOs, people's organizations are involved in the planning, in delivering support services, and monitoring the progress of our FRs. So these groups ensure that the program is tailored to local needs, fostering collective ownership and effective reintegration of our former rebels or friends rescued into the society. So kung titingnan mo, para the whole of nation approach pa rin,
Oo, pa rin.
ang pagtutulong sa ating mga FRs. Kasi hindi lang man si FR ang kumbaga bigyang another lease at life, kumbaga, kung hindi yung community din dapat i-ready din natin to receive itong mga FRs.
Okay, so very nice po yung programang ito, no? Sa punto pong ito, mga kaibigan, ating pong pabigyan ating mga local media partners na magtanong sa ating pong speaker. Paalala lang po, magpakilala po muna tayo before we shoot our question. Yes po. First question po, your name please.
Yes, good morning, RD Rochelle, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Juster Gudio from Mindanao Sentinel News and the president of South Cotabato Press Corps. The first question is, what types of project and programs are typically funded under LGSF or SBDP? And which barangays are eligible for the LGSF, SBDP, and what criteria are used to select them?
Oh, tatlong tanong na kagad. LGSF, ano ito?
The LGSF is the Local Governance Support Fund or Support to Barangay Development Program. So LGSF, SBDP, quite a mouthful. Pero these are funds, typically, these funds projects and programs that aim to promote development and address basic needs at the barangay level. Ito po yung mga barangay na sinasabing cleared for development by the AFP. The common types of projects under the LGSF SBDP, meron tayong infrastructure projects. So that includes construction and rehabilitation of farm-to-market roads. Meron din po tayong provision of potable water systems, construction of health stations and school buildings, and electrification projects. So again, for a barangay to be able to be eligible or can access the LGSF SBDP, they must be cleared for development during the community support program or immersion to the communities, which normally lasts for 3 to 6 months, no? And these are cleared barangays and listed as target under the Retooled Community Support Program or the RCSP of the NTF-LCAC. So for example, if they are identified as RCSP target barangays for this year, 2024, then they will be eligible for the LGSF SBDP for CY 2025. Ayan.
All right, thank you very much po. By the way, RD, saan papasok yung CSO naman dito? May CSO involvement ba dito?
Yung sa yung sa
Pag-identify ng project.
Pag-identify ng projects. Because pag-identify ng projects, ito yung may ginagawang mga pulong-pulong, may ginagawang community interviews, community engagements, meron tayong basically yung tinatanong ang community kung ano ang kailangan nila. So the CSOs are there kasi yung nagpa-participate doon mostly are CSOs din po doon sa barangay, aside from of course the barangay local officials, the CTU leaders are there, purok leaders, so CTU or purok leaders are there, and anyone nga interested, no, to know about kung ano ang gusto nilang projects.
All right. Next question. Yes po. Your name please.
Good morning, RD and attorney. Nika Pama from DXKG 92.5 FM, Radyo Rapido Coronadal. My question is, how are the local communities involved in planning and the implementation of the LGSF SBDP project?
Ito yung related sa ano mo kasi you're specific of the CSO. Ito naman yung local community.
Communities naman. All right.
So, local communities plays a crucial role no doon sa planning and the implementation under the LGSF SBDP. Their involvement ensures that the projects address the primary and secondary issues ng isang community. So, as stated earlier, may consultative meetings, may barangay assemblies and consultation. Meron din yung sinasabing using the tool ng solution-seeking tables. So parang ano lang siya, parang it's a matrix. Parang ang sinasabi na to extract the intelligence or yung ano yung gusto talaga ng isang community. Halimbawa, ano yung issues and concern? Ano yung mangyari kung hindi ito ma-address? Anong implication niya? At ano yung strategies na kailangan para ma-meet itong issue na ito. So minsan ang strategy would be policy support or it may be ordinansa lang or resolution or a text or a call or a communication doon sa mga department, no, or mga NGAs, national government agencies na as it pertains to their mandate na mga issues din doon sa barangay. Pero minsan medyo structured or dapat talaga yung tangible nga hard projects ang nandun. O, minsan, soft projects din ang kailangan ng isang barangay. Ayan. Tapos, meron din tayong participatory planning. So, during the RCSP immersion or tinatawag nating ugnayan sa barangay, may mga convergence meetings where yung mga community members, mga na galing sa iba't ibang sektor like women, youth, and mga indigenous peoples group are encouraged to participate in the planning process to identify and prioritize projects that would address yung issues and concern ng isang community. And of course, kasali din yan ang ating mga LGUs, ang ating mga barangay officials, especially doon sa pag-develop ng mga project proposals. So si barangay, kung wala silang kakayahan to make the project proposals, then the higher LGU will take care of that. The munisipyo ba or the provincial or the province or the provincial level will help them with that. And of course, yung pag-formulate po and pag-enhance ng barangay development plan. So, a barangay development plan is a roadmap to success ng isang barangay o sa isang LGU, no. So, with that, involve talaga ang community. Kasi saan ba naman kukunin ang pulso, no? Kung di doon din mismo sa community. Also, the community is involved doon sa monitoring and evaluation sa projects na nandyan sa lugar nila. To ensure transparency and accountability. And they also form part dun sa oversight committees, especially andun sa lugar nila. Halimbawa, ang mga bridges or mga roads or electrification projects, they should have a say kung anong nangyari, kung paano i-implement ang isang proyekto. And of course, meron din sa capacity building and social preparation involved din ang ating mga communities because we train the communities also to enhance their skills in project planning, implementation, and monitoring o itong mga project management 101. And to the end that this empowers the community kasi nga they will take an more active role in the project monitoring and project management because naintindihan nila kung ano yung dapat tingnan. Ayan. And of course, this is good for the sustainability sa project. On the part naman sa kanang local governance, the community would really prod our barangay officials, no, in a way, prod our officials, our local leaders, to facilitate involvement of to facilitate that they have to be involved to ang community and ensure participation in the decision-making process. And of course, itong mga barangay officials will also coordinate with higher levels of government and other stakeholders doon sa pag-secure ng support. So by involving our local communities in these ways, the LGSF, SBDP aims to ensure that yung projects natin are responsive to the actual needs ng population and there's the effective implementation.
Ayun.
Ayan.
Thank you, Atty.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
sa question.
Mayroon pa tayong tanong? Yes po. Your name, sir, and your station or your...
Good morning, RD Fry of Abkilan of PIA 12.
Morning.
And also good morning to RD Attorney Zero of
Good morning, sir.
DILG 12. Patlong tanong po, Attorney. Al saludo po of ABS-CBN News. What measures are in place to ensure the security and safety of enhanced comprehensive local integration program beneficiaries during and after their reintegration process?
Yun, oo.
Ayan,
nga.
importante din
Example,
kasi.
na ano na siya sa e-clip, yung mga, alam mo na, yung sa kabila baka din,
May magagawin sa kanila
gagawin
that will
pa.
hurt our FRs, no? So during po sa pag surface, they will be given protective custody by the AFP or the PNP, depende po kung saan po sila nag-surrender. And then nilalagay po sila natin doon sa mga halfway houses. Itong mga halfway houses are transitional spaces that offer safe accommodation access to reintegration services, kasali po ang livelihood, training, counseling, and education. So most of them, at then na rin po most of them nag-a-avail sa alternative learning system, sa ALS natin, at saka meron din po dyan sa halfway house yung deradicalization process.
Oh.
So kung paano sila gi-recruit, parang ano lang, to give them another perspective, no? And then meron po tayong immediate financial assistance, meron pong livelihood and reintegration support, at meron ding psychosocial support na yung counseling and psychological support to address if ever may mga trauma or mental health issues po ang ating mga FRs. And during the run of that reintegration process, meron pong housing, NHA or National Housing Authority, meron po silang pabahay sa mga qualified na mga FRs, at meron ding legal assistance na binibigay with the DOJ or with the local government units, legal assistance in securing or in resolving legal issues as it pertains to the surfacing na FRs natin. So pagkatapos po ng reintegration, patuloy po ang monitoring and evaluation ng ating mga social workers, no? So provincial social workers and the local social workers, and in fact we are soliciting the involvement of mga barangay kagawads, no? Especially kung saan sila nag-reintegrate, no? So monitoring and support, because we have to see to it na yung nakatayo talaga sila sa kanilang sariling paa, at yung livelihood nila is okay. At saka they are behaving as, hindi na mga former rebels or mga na may mga advokasya pa or leaning sa CTGs nga mga ideologies, so that we have to constantly monitor them. And of course, yung interagency collaboration in providing assistance, further assistance doon sa mga former rebels natin or friends rescued, kumbaga.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Meron pa ba? Last two? Okay. Last two question. Yes, sir. Your name, please.
Okay, good morning, RDs. I'm George Morales of 107.3 Radio Latigo FM. My question, what topics and skills are covered in the CSO Academy's training programs, and who is eligible to join the CSO Academy?
Right.
Yun, CSO na
Yes,
tayo
thank you
naman.
for that question. This is one of the initiative of the at the regional level that we are so proud and happy.
So again,
With
unique
the
lang ito.
LGUs.
Dito lang sa DILG 12 ito.
Opo.
Wala ito sa ibang region.
Meron daw ang sa Pasig. Oo,
Okay.
Pasig. But for this part of Mindanao, ito sa Region 12. So, dalawa pong components ang ating CSO Academy. May internal governance or the leadership part ng isang CSO ang gina-improve natin, no? So that they will be able to participate more meaningfully kung ang robust ang kanilang organization. So, another module is on local governance and looking into the CSO's role in local development operations. So, the CSOs are made to understand the core LGU functions so that they will, from planning, budgeting to expenditure management, so that they will be able to makasabay sila sa discussion, no, when they are part of the local special bodies. Ayan. So, ang eligibility criteria, dapat po ang CSO ay registered with SEC or other recognized government agencies like the DOLE and the
CDA.
Cooperative Development Authority. Dapat din accredited sila sa local government units sa ating mga sanggunian.
Okay.
And member po sila ng local special bodies is a plus.
It's a plus, pero hindi naman required
No, not
talaga.
necessarily.
Okay.
Thank you so much, RD.
Thank you for the question.
Last question. Your name, sir, please.
Good morning po. RJ Umagaptiad from 90.5 Good Vibes Radio, Coronadal. My question po is related to the first question. What are the future plans for the CSO Academy in terms of expansion, curriculum development, and outreach po? Thank you.
So moving forward, DILG 12 aims to ensure yung ma-institutionalize na talaga po ang CSO Academy dito po sa mga LGUs, no? So that we have our operations manual for that.
RD, before that, kailan to nag-start? Na-curious kasi, yun nga, Yung
2021.
2021. So magti 3 years na.
Opo. So for the curriculum development, the local governance consortium in Region 12 that is composed of mga CSOs din will be our partner in developing and delivering modules to tailor fit to the needs of our CSOs. So as part of the component in the next run of the academy will include a community engagement wherein our CSO scholars will have to implement their programs to the community within a specified timeline. So that this parang re-entry action plan nila. And this is to ensure that the scholars are capacitated in local government operations.
Ayun. Thank
Thank you
you very much, sir. Ay, wala na tayong oras eh. Okay, so thank you very much, RD Rochelle, sa ating mga media partners. Dagang salamat. Naubusan na po tayo ng oras. Kasi po, yung opening ceremonies ng Dagyao 2024, mag-start na tayo mamayang konti, no? So at this point, to wrap things up, ang inyong huling mensahe po or announcements before we end our program.
Yes, RD. Maraming salamat sa PIA, Regional Director Ryan Abrican, to the Presidential Communication Office for having us. Thank you for this opportunity to inform our public of our accomplishments in promoting excellence in local governance. In this region, in this part of Mindanao, we believe in the importance of this activity to promote and disseminate the accomplishments of our department, and we hope that we will continue to work together for a secured, safe, resilient, and progressive Region 12.
Yes, a round of applause sa DILG 12. Maraming salamat po, RD Rochelle. Sa ating pong manonood, antabayanan po ninyo ang ating susunod na episode sa araw ng Martes. Sa ganito ring oras, anong departamento na naman kaya ang magbabahagi ng kanilang key accomplishments? Yan po sa ngalan ni Presidential Communications Office Secretary Attorney Cheloy Garafil, PIA Director General Jose Torres Jr. Ako, ang inyong lingkod, si Frian Iabkilan ng PIA Region 12. Maraming salamat at ito ang Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas. Ito ang Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas.